guys, I thought I would do this video on the Charlotte Tilbury Dreamgasm eyeshadow quad and two of her new lip collagen baths, I think is what they're called. Collagen lip bath. Sorry, I mixed that up. Collagen lip bath. So she had already had like a clear version, but then she came out with like a peachy version and a pinky version. I haven't even opened them up yet. They're still in the box, but I decided to order both of these because she was having a deal on her site where if you ordered, I think it was like $50 or more, they threw in a free lip cheat in Pillow Talk. So I thought I'd take advantage of that. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Dreamgasm palette first. This has been out for a while. I got it, I started playing with it, and it was only after I ordered it, but before I received it, that I realized 3 of the shades in here are from previous quads. I think if I had known that, I probably wouldn't have ordered this, but it is a lovely palette. And I do like when brands come out with like a greatest hits kind of product, because if you've never tried any of her eyeshadow palettes before, this is a wonderful one to pick up because you get to see like 3 of her most popular shades. So here is the Dreamgasm palette, and let me go ahead and give you some swatches here. So I'll be swatching them from the top left-hand corner, and I'm moving around the palette in clockwise direction. And on the Charlotte Tilbury site, it says that they took the most popular shade from the Transformize, Pillow Talk, and Dolce Vita quads and threw them in here. And then I'm assuming that one shade is new. So what we'll be doing today is putting this eyeshadow palette on my eyes. We'll be trying out the collagen lip baths. And then at the end of this video, what I'm gonna do is swatch this one compared to those 3 quads that she mentions are appearing in this quad. So I was taking a look, and I think this shade is from Pillow Talk. I believe this shade is from Dolce Vita. And then this one is from Transformize. And then this one, however, I feel like is in Dolce Vita also, but we'll take a look at that more closely in my comparison swatches at the end of this video. I'll have timestamps down below in my description box if you want to jump around. So let's go ahead and apply these shadows. So all 4 of the shades in here are shimmery. This one's like a glittery top coat. So there are no matte shades in here. I've used this palette before, and the one struggle, that's kind of a dramatic term, but the one struggle I had with this quad is that I don't really have like a true transition shade. This is a little bit too golden for that, and then this one is a little bit too deep. So that's just my personal struggle with this quad. Of course, if you have a different skin tone and if you have a deeper skin tone, this would work beautifully. But I'm going to go ahead and use the gold one, and I've got my Sonia G Blender Pro brush. And these shadows, like I mentioned, I've used this palette before, so I just want to mention that these shadows do perform beautifully. They blend beautifully, they apply beautifully, as you guys can see now. And something I do love about Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows is this kind of like satiny finish. They're so pretty without being too shiny. I do also want to mention that this palette, I believe, is limited edition, and I think I've only seen it on the Charlotte Tilbury site. So I just wanted to mention that. Of course, I'll link to everything down below in my description box, but I wanted to mention that I do believe it is limited edition. All right, so there's the gold shade applied to my lids. I'm going to grab my Refer number 2 brush, and I'm going to go into this darker shade here, and I'm just going to apply this to the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to take that Blender Pro and blend that out a little bit. Next, I'm going to take my Sonia G Builder 3 brush and go into this light champagne shade and sweep this onto the inner portion and center part of my lid here. All right, and last but not least, I'm just going to take my finger and grab some of this glittery top coat here and just tap that onto the center and outer portion of my lid. I'm going to take this number 2 Refer brush again and go back into this deep shade, and I'm just going to dip the tips of the bristles in and use this as liner. All right, let me throw on some mascara and then we can move on to the collagen lip baths. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the collagen lip baths. So like I mentioned, I got colors. Why are they not on here? Oh, Rosy Glow and Peachy Plump. So let's go ahead and start with Peachy Plump. I've never tried one of these collagen lip baths, so I'm really excited. Look at how pretty that is. Ooh. All right. Hopefully there's no raunchy scent. Oh no, it actually smells like the Patrick Ta lip glosses. It smells like mint chocolate chip. And then here is the applicator. It actually looks like a hoof, but I guess you could say it's like heart-shaped at the top. Anyway, let's go ahead and apply this. Pretty. It has a really nice sheen. I'm feeling a little heat on my lips. I really am not a fan of that. I hope it stops and starts to fade quickly. I should probably read the box before I put stuff on. Plump Effect Collagen Care for the appearance of fuller, wider, fresher lips. Glide over your lips for instant volumizing lip care. So there's peppermint oil in here. It's pretty faint. It's definitely not like a buxom lip plumper. It's already fading. It's not too bad, but there's definitely like a little bit of a plumpiness going on. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I'm glad it's already fading. So that is Peachy Plump on my lips. It is fairly sheer. You guys probably can't even see much of it on my lips. All right, let's try the Rosy Glow. So this is what Rosy Glow looks like. And let me remove Peachy Plump from my lips. And let's try on the Rosy Glow. Yeah, this one smells less chocolate chip and more mint. This one definitely has more pigment in there. I think you can definitely like see the presence of this lip gloss a little bit more than the other one. Ooh, that's nice though. Isn't that pretty? Definitely a Rosy Glow. And I can't tell because that Peachy Plump had, you know, that feeling, that tingly feeling. I don't know if that's just still lingering. I'm sure this probably has a similar kind of light tingly feeling to it, but I can't tell at this point. So I like these. I would of course prefer if there wasn't the tingly feeling to my lips. I'm just not a fan of that. But they're both really, really pretty. And I like that they're not, I don't know, too slick or too oily or too thin. Like there's a very nice texture to them. All right, so Dreamgasm. In terms of formula, I think they're wonderful. I think that they're just like the other Charlotte Tilbury quads. I love that satin finish. I think they blend beautifully. I love the finish of the satin. It's like a satin ribbon kind of satin, and I really, really like that. This glitter top coat, just like many of her glitter top coats, it's thin. It's meant to be kind of layered on top of other shadows. I think it has like a really beautiful glittery effect. What I mentioned before, I don't really have a transition shade in here, so that was a very minor problem for me. The other, I don't know, kind of random issue I have with this is that I feel like, I guess because she grabbed just popular shades from her other quads, I feel like the tones are off. Like I feel like these three work pretty well together, but then this gold is very, very warm while these are kind of on the neutral, even kind of cool side. So I think you get, I think you get a decent eye look. Absolutely no problem. But I do feel like this shadow stands out a little bit more. I guess I would have preferred something that was a little bit cooler, maybe something that was a little bit more, I don't know, either pinker or taupier, but then I guess it probably would have ended up looking like one of her other palettes completely. But those are probably the two things that stood out to me when I used it, is one, that there's no transition shade for me and someone with my skin tone, and that this felt really, really warm in comparison to like the rest of the shades. But other than that, I feel like if maybe you haven't purchased any other Charlotte Tilbury quads, or you don't have the three that she pulled from for this quad, that this could actually be a pretty decent purchase, because you're kind of getting what they're saying is like the best of these other very popular quads. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the comparison swatches. What I've done is I have swatched all four of the Dreamgasm on the left-hand side, and then all four of the other palette on the right-hand side, and then I'll talk about where I think these shades came from. First, let's go ahead and compare it to the Transform Eyes quad. And the second shade in is, I believe, the second shade in on the Dreamgasm palette. So I think that's where she grabbed the gold shade, is from this Transform Eyes palette. The similarities really kind of stop there. This Transform Eyes palette has 2 matte shades. It has that terracotta shade. It also has that very cool toned brown shade in there. And it's very different from the Dreamgasm palette, except for that one gold shade. Next, let's go ahead and compare it to the Dolce Vita quad. And the third shade in the Dreamgasm palette, I believe, is the same as the second shade in the Dolce Vita palette. However, what I will say is I believe the first shade in both of these palettes is very, very similar. I think maybe there is just the slightest difference in tone. The Dolce Vita may be a little bit peachier or just a little bit deeper in its tone, and the one in the Dreamgasm may be a little bit lighter, but I do think on the eyes they would be very, very similar. And then here's the comparison to the Pillow Talk quad. So the repeat shade, I believe, is the Glitter Top Coat shade from the Pillow Talk, and that's the 4th shade for both quads. I do feel like they're a little bit different. I find the Glitter Top Coat in the Dreamgasm palette to be a little bit softer. It's also a little bit more glittery. It's a little bit chunkier, but I think it has a bolder impact to the one in at least my Pillow Talk quad. But I do think that that is supposed to be the shade from the Pillow Talk quad. So those are all the comparison swatches I have for you today for the Dreamgasm palette. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any comments down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.